Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Wait a minute. Let me see. I want to make sure you can hear me. Yeah, you can. All right. Thank you so much for being here. You could have been any place else. And guess what? It is not too late. Don't forget, you have been warned. It is not too late. Okay, and got it. All right. So let me see who was here first. Fancy, thank you so much for being here first. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer, thank you so much for being here. Okay. Um, wow, okay. Sharon Skinner, thank you. Janice Goodrich. Nash Singby, thank you very much for being here. All right, let's get on with it. We're going to get right into it. Um, there we go. So, Prince Harry speaks, and I'm glad he did. I am so glad he did. Um, the topic of discussion was, of course, his mother's paranoia or alleged paranoia. Um, that seems to be a case that was built against Diana. They had started building the case early on, and then they began to prosecute the case, right? And then, of course, if I was to use um, the courtroom as, let's say, a metaphor, we all know what case closed was, right? You would think that upon Diana's mysterious, untimely death in Paris, to the likes of which they blamed Monsieur Henri, you would think that would have been it, right? But it wasn't. It still, there is almost, it seemed like on a weekly basis, there'll be a handful of articles in the British tabloid press building a case against Diana, her sanity, her judgment, even her love for her children. They even have called into question her morals, all of those things. And we shouldn't be surprised at this point because since the Queen has died, look at how many times people have put words in her mouth. Look at how many times that people have spoken with great authority about what the Queen thinks and feels and would have done and how she conducted herself. On the one hand, they say, well, the Queen never did let you know what her real opinions were. But on the other hand, all we hear about these days is how the Queen felt about various topics and subjects, in particular, Prince Harry and that of the Duchess of Sussex. Hello, Church Nellie. Thank you so much for being here. Um, Thanks for turning me on. Um, and you kind of turned me on too. That's not weird, right? Let's see. Anything to save the crown, Peach Rose says. Exactly. So anyway, let's get into it. I went through some of my archives, which I have a vast amount of material. And one of the things that helps me to build my case is that I can go back and review things that were important some time ago. And then I can go back and look at those, and it's amazing how much they still are applicable to the subject of the day. Like, for instance, Prince Harry. All I want to do is make my mother proud, right? He said that. That's all I want to do is make my mother proud. I believe him. I believe him. When it comes to things like the landmines, HIV, AIDS, mental health, Let's see. And of course, let me think. What? Oh, and even the Centabale, which was created in memory of his mother. It carries on to his children every way that he has lived his life since his mother's untimely and mysterious death in that tunnel in Paris. He has honored his mother's memory. I can't say so much for the rest of the family. That includes his brother. I mean, take a look at the article there. Prince Harry, all I want to do is make my mother proud. Now, this article is from 2016. So we know this is before he was married. Now, May of 2016, I'm not sure whether or not they were dating at that time, but it is 2024. This is about, we're coming up on 8 years of their relationship. We're coming up on 8 years of the Sussexes' relationship. 6 years of marriage, 8 years of their relationship. Harry opens up about losing Diana, life as the royal wanted kids, and bringing his Invictus games to America. So, 2 years into Invictus, he's thinking family. And of course, he's already thinking about the next great step for the Invictus games. Hello, Pinky H. Hi, Robin Hyde. So, right here, Chris Ship, and that's with a P, not a T, Chris Ship. Princess Diana wasn't paranoid. She was absolutely right. Prince Harry tells ITV News, and she's not around today to find out the truth. Just like my mother, he says, when you're vindicated, it proves you weren't being paranoid. When you're vindicated, it proves you weren't being paranoid. Now, compare that to his brother, where his brother says BBC's failures and false claims contributed to my mother's fear, paranoia, and isolation. Is in as much as he's saying, yes, my mother was paranoid. Was she paranoid, or was she being stalked? Was she being hacked? Was this all part of a greater plan? And believe me, I am going to expand upon that. Trust me, I am. I am going to expand upon that. We're just getting started. I brought a bunch of stuff up to help, I guess, make my case. Right. So let me grab something here. I'll put this up. This is Harry as he appeared on the ITV interview. So the interview is actually going to be broadcast tomorrow. I think we got a preview of it. Now, Harry, as far as I know, Harry is not the only person on the interview. There are other people, as you know, that Charlene Church, what's his name? Anyway, there's other people. There's a total of 4, I believe, or 4 or 5. And they're going to talk about the way they were treated by the tabloid media. So this ITV program is all about hacking. It's all about hacking. And the way that they, meaning the British tabloid media in particular, I would say that includes the Murdoch Group, but not restricted, but it includes the Murdoch Group. Okay, let's listen to the soundbite.
The paranoia that it creates. Do you identify with that?
I think paranoia it's a very interesting word because, yes, then it could be paranoia, but then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. Same with my mother. There is evidence to suggest that she was being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked. And yet, still today, the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid. But she wasn't paranoid. She was absolutely right of what was happening to her. And she's not around today to find out the truth.
Does your mother motivate you in this legal fight?
There's all sorts of things that motivate me.
While it's never been proven in court that Princess Diana was hacked, the past remains raw.
Here, my friend.
Other victims of
Okay,
hacking that I've spoken
okay.
to have described the paranoia.
Okay, so we got what we need for now. So let's listen to that one more time. I'm so sorry. Let's listen to that one more time. Okay, it's buffering a bit. It's buffering a bit. Of course, it is because I need for it to work. But it says this is a snippet
Here, my friend.
from the
Other victims
ITV.
of hacking that I've spoken to have described the paranoia that it creates. Do you identify with that?
I think paranoia it's a very interesting word because, yes, then it could be paranoia. But then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. You know, same with my mother. You know, there was evidence to suggest that she was being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked. And yet, still today, the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid. But she wasn't paranoid. She was absolutely right of what was happening to her. And she's not around today to find out the truth.
Does your mother motivate you in this legal fight?
There's all sorts of things that motivate me.
While it's never been proven in court that Princess Diana was hacked, the past remains raw.
Okay, so it never actually made it to a court of law. All we have is the court of public opinion. What do you believe? How do you feel based on the evidence that we have that the tabloids have paid out how many billions? $1, $2, $3 billion over the years so that people will close their cases? People will settle out of court. However, based on the history of the tabloid and their information gathering, we know that the tabloids have routinely used paid thugs, private detectives, to go through people's trash, their letterbox. They have been able to somehow go and retrieve medical records, phone records, and of course, the phone hacking. And if you're not clear on how do you hack someone's cell phone, there was a preset in the early days of the mobile phone. There was a preset code. Most people did not know that they needed to change the code. And so all they have to do is either guess or figure out which phone carrier you used, and you would actually have the ability to go into anybody's phone, whether they're a member of the royal family, a member of the government, and you could retrieve their messages before they do. So if you say, I'm going to meet you at so-and-so at such and such a time, or I'm here, where are you? I'm in front of, let's say, Ludlow's. I'm in front of a restaurant called Ludlow's or Steak and Shake, whatever. And someone retrieves your message. One of the ways that you know that you're being hacked is that when you go to retrieve your message, the little prompt to get to your unheard messages never comes up. All you have is the message. You don't hear how many new messages you have. Some people didn't pay attention to that. Some people thought it was just some glitch or something like that. We saw Diana's reaction to the idea that her car was tampered with in the Crown. We saw Diana's movements in the Crown where she would hang up the phone and she would hear another party hang up as though there were three people on the same call. or 3 extensions on the same call. Now we know that it is likely very true. Now, I can't speak to the idea that her car had been tampered with. I don't have that information. But you know that I've had a way to explain someone's overreaction or what seems to be an overreaction when they are being abused. When you have been gaslit, when you have been exploited on so many occasions, the idea that you may overreach or that you may assume wrong, that is a side effect of the abuse. That is abusive behavior. Diana was abused by that system. Hello, Anastasia. Thank you for being here. It's abuse. Clearly, it's abuse. Now, let's take that away. So again, on the one hand, Harry speaks today and he says it was not paranoia. Now, in that moment, maybe there was times when Diana asked herself, am I being paranoid? But Diana was not insane. Diana was not suffering from mental illness. Yes, she may have had her issues with her diet and her body image, but there are plenty functional people that go through life and do not need to be confined in an institution because of their body, what do you call it, morphia, whatever. There are so many people that are very functional with that. That is totally different from the idea that your husband will be king and that there's an entire institution that is on his side, that there is a media, a tabloid media, that is most likely to take his side. You don't have a voice. Diana didn't have social media. Diana had to rely upon friends or people she assumed were her friends. Very big difference. So this, of course, let me submit to you Prince William's idea of Diana's situation, Diana's mood, Diana's temperament, Diana's sanity. How about even paranoia? That he said that the Panorama interview contributed to his mother's paranoia. So he is saying my mother was paranoid. I've always said that this statement that he gave absolved all responsibility for his mother's untimely death. All of that was taken away from the tabloids. And the reason why I say that is because in the end, someone was willing to pay a lot of money for those photos, which is the reason why there was this high-speed pursuit in the first place. And the tabloids seems to have escaped all criticism. And they have determined that, and when I say they, I do mean the powers that be, the people who have closed the case. They have determined that Diana's negligence for the seatbelt, Diana being in Paris, and Diana this, Diana that, none of it seems to have to do with this incredible amount of interest in Diana's life that was generated by the British tabloid media. I submit to you the fact that she was in Paris at all, we can have our arguments about that. But still, the tabloid media, I feel, is to blame. And by him giving this speech, he's saying that the tabloid media, he's pretty much giving them blanketed protection. And he's putting it on Martin Bashir and the BBC. And because the BBC is considered the most honest broker when it comes to the British media, meaning, of course, that the tabloid media, they are the ones that would love to see the BBC just disappear. They would like nothing better than the BBC to be looked down upon as, well, as tabloid fodder. They would like for the BBC to get the same type of scrutiny that they get. They don't want people to trust the BBC because the BBC, they have been more balanced. I'm not saying that they have been completely fair, but they have been more balanced where their reporting is concerned on just about all topics, whereas the tabloids have a decidedly very right-wing, pro-Brexit leaning. Are we all in agreement on that? That you can't get any more right-wing, I mean, alt-right, far-right, than the tabloid media. So all of that being considered, then of course, one must consider that the tabloids have a vested interest in the destruction of the BBC, or at least to ruin their reputation so that they will seem like they're on par with the rest of the British media, which I would say, in my opinion, the BBC is just a couple steps above. Not great, not perfect, but at the very least, I would say just a little bit above the rest of. I look at the BBC as I look at the Guardian. They have their good days and they have their bad days. So, okay. Anastasia says she wasn't being paranoid. Imagine having knowing that you are being watched and that your phone is being hacked by the gutter press. Absolutely, absolutely. Let me stand up. Give me a second. Oh, I need to stand up. I need to stretch so we can get into this. So, gosh, I want to share a little bit. I want to share William's words with you. And I'm looking for that Time article because I can't see it here. But let me try this. Let me try this. I will try to find the sound for that. Prince William's Panorama, right? Okay. Okay. So let's listen to William.
I would like to thank Lord Dyson and his team for the report. It is welcome that the BBC accepts Lord Dyson's findings in full, which are extremely concerning. That BBC employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother, made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia, displayed woeful incompetence when investigating complaints and concerns about the programme, and were evasive in their reporting to the media and covered up what they knew from their internal investigation. It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others. It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia, and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. But what saddens me most is that if the BBC had properly investigated the complaints and concerns first raised in 1995, my mother would have known that she'd been deceived. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way rather than asking the tough questions. It is my firm view that this Panorama programme holds no legitimacy and should never be aired again. It effectively established a false narrative which for over a quarter of a century has been commercialised by the BBC and others. This settled narrative now needs to be addressed by the BBC and anyone else who has written or intends to write about these events. In an era of fake news, public service broadcasting and a free press have never been more important. These failings, identified by investigative journalists, not only let my mother down and my family down, they let the public down too.
Okay, so if he would ask such pointed questions about who was paying for the photos that cost his mother her life, allegedly, I would have more respect for him. But he's putting all of the burden upon the Panorama interview when clearly there is a million things that led up to the point of Diana sitting in front of Martin Bashir. Diana herself said that even though there was some misdeeds involved in the ability to get her to give the interview to Panorama, those were still her words, pretty much identical to the words that were used in the Morton book, the Andrew Morton book. But he is totally ignoring what his mother said. He is ignoring what she said, but instead creating or building a case against Martin Bashir and Panorama. Yes, that was part of an overall campaign to cause as much, I suppose, alarm as possible to get Diana to give consent for an interview. Yes, all of that may be true, but there's also the fact that it's a small part of a much larger campaign, in my opinion. This is part of a much larger campaign. So Panorama actually gave Diana a voice to speak directly to the people, and that was all she had ever wanted. And back in those days, it was very dodgy, very scary, very frightening for her to try to, like right here. So William is trying to silence his mom, the mother who made it clear she was not misled or tricked into this interview. Signed, Diana. Okay, would you like to see it better like this? Martin Bashir did not, let me see, show me any documents nor give me any information. Oh gosh, I can't read that. Previously, that I was not previously aware of. I chose to interview on Panorama without any added pressure or, okay. Or, and let me see, I have no regret, yes, concerning this research concerning the matter. Okay, Diana. Period. That's it. So what is the point of dragging Martin? And then, of course, he closes by saying that this video should be put on a shelf and never viewed again. What is it about her words that you want to silence her? By the way, don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Also, do consider getting a membership to Royal Sussex. They start at just $4.99. Again, consider getting a membership to Royal Sussex starting at just $4.99. Okay. That was my public service message. Let me take this away and take a look at a couple of your comments here. Thank you, Annie Bullard. Big Mama says, let me see, badly laid it on thick. Baldy, you mean, right? Laid it on thick. Wait, that moved. It just jumped. I'm so sorry. I just lost my place. Oh, there we are. I should have did that. Didn't he work hard for the tabloids? Yes. And didn't, oh, you know what? I got so much stuff to get to, and I did not want to go over an hour. So let me get to it, because we're going to just stay with this one topic right now. Joyce Yvette Davis, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being here. All right. Continue right there. Paranoid, fearful, isolated, the words Prince William used this week to describe how Martin Bashir's lies ruined his mother's life. Dick Kay, who witnessed Diana's torment, reveals the intimate story behind his fury. What about Diana? Yes, that's her son. Yes, but what is he so triggered about when... Okay. I get that Martin Bashir is a little weasel, but you should have this same energy for all of the tabloid media. You used to have that energy. What changed? Murdoch. Oh, excuse my sinuses. Murdoch. Was it something to do with the invisible contract that was negotiated? The settlement he took, but his brother did not even know about, right? Didn't he come to some settlement with the tabloids for their misdeeds? Harry refused the settlement and decided he'd rather take them to court. On the day of shame for BBC, Prince devastating blast at Bashir's lurid and false claims that he says fueled Diana's fear and paranoia. Now, he was very careful not to say caused, but fueled. In other words, the way this was written for him, the way this was, because he did not write this, this is not his words. The way this was written for him, it blasts the BBC and no other media group, just the BBC. As I said, who is the most trusted in all of the British media? Who is the most trusted in all of the British media? Okay. Right here, which media outlet do Britons trust in 2023? Let me see. I hope this puts it in order for me. It says here, they're not even mentioning the BBC. Well, these are only the newspapers. Well, never mind. If you guys can find it, let me know. All right. But I still believe it is the BBC. Okay, continue. So right here, this is the way I see it. William is a puppet of the tabloids. And that is why I created that little meme right there, royal puppets, because they seem to put on a pantomime, which is custom made to create as much profits for the tabloids and to give them all the protection they need from themselves. Because remember, those are the two laziest royals that have ever drawn a breath, Kate and William, lazy. Let's see. The article from The Independent, Paranoid, Harry lost friends over unlawful stories. Well, Harry's not the only one. There's a lot of people. William and Harry both suffered from the intrusion of the tabloid media. But all of a sudden, William gets nothing but great press. Harry, who has taken them to court, gets nothing but bad press. Right? Prince flies 5,500 miles to have his day in court with Elton John and Sadie Frost in phone hacking claims against Mail newspaper. So it's not just, of course, Murdoch, it is Lord Nappyhead's Daily Mail. Equally bad. Not as worse as Murdoch, but close enough. Close enough. They just don't have as much very different outlets and such as Murdoch, which goes all the way to Fox News and local stations, all that stuff. Prince Harry's staffers from Suspicious and Paranoia. I'm sorry, not staffers. It says suffers. It's very small. And lost friends over news articles a court heard yesterday. Well, there is Harry's testimony. Now, I made a very long, boring video where I went through all of Harry's words in court. You should check it out someday. It is painfully long, but it is incredibly interesting. And a few of you all have dared to sit through it. How long was that video? 2-3 hours? Anyway, interesting stuff. All right, so let's get on to this one here. Let's see. So Dr. Zane says it's obvious the establishment is working to silence Diana. Now that they have challenged the way the interview was obtained, they are going to challenge its content. What I can't believe this son of Charles is leading this. Yeah, I could believe it. I could believe it. The Duke of Cambridge is frustrated by the BBC's failure to address the false narrative of Martin Bashir's Panorama interview. The false narrative of the Panorama interview. The interview, Roy Anika, those were Diana's words. You see that? The false narrative of Martin Bashir's Panorama interview. Do you see what she just did there? Prince William still feels a lot of hurt and pain at how his mother was duped by Bashir. Yes, she was. He coerced her into giving her the interview. It says nothing in regards to her words. Here's Roy Anika again. William hoped the BBC would finally question the interview's legitimacy with this apology this week. And here is, what is that, India Knight's column on the scandal. Great to see credit for my colleague who tirelessly reporting to expose. Yes, again, they are doing the okie doke, you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. They are trying to conflate Martin Bashir's sorcery, his trickery to get Diana in the chair, as opposed to what Diana said. Not a word about what Diana said. Now do you see why they're so anxious to make this all about Martin Bashir? They're making the little brown man the boogeyman. This is really good thing, William and Earl Spencer fighting for it. It's not about Diana, what Diana said. It's about the way they got it, how these lies influence her. They manipulated her and used her already vulnerable state. But what about what she said? I don't know that she was so vulnerable if she had the courage to sit in that chair. Diana was groomed and manipulated to deliver ratings. What you saw and heard were her feelings and thoughts. However, they came from fear and paranoia, fed and encouraged by Bashir. Again, somebody else replying to Roy Anika, obviously someone who follows her, who is giving blanketed protection to the rest of the tabloid media. How did she get in the chair in the first place? Yes, I know about Camilla. I know about Charles, but there were constant, harassment from the tabloid media following her, having the well, I can't even tell you what some of those paparazzi photographers would say to her, but it was awful. That's how they were able to get her to cry. Okay? All right, so let's move on. Right here, the royal family support will help fight the stigma of mental health, as CEO Countess Sane told the AP. Now, Countess Sane is that little troll, that little wrinkled troll, that little fossil that said that Meghan wears her heart on her sleeve. This lady is the CEO of an organization that deals with mental health and well-being, but she's the one saying that Meghan should shut up. And why did she do that? Let's see. Who was she doing an interview with? Was it Rachel Johnson? Or was it, was it Camilla Tominey? I think it was Camilla Tominey. She was giving an interview, and hook, line, and sinker, she bought right into the soundbite that they wanted to use. And then, of course, that was trending everywhere, that they got her to say something disparaging about Meghan. In other words, you complain too much, Meghan. Why are you always talking about your feelings? I thought William, and of course, Heads Together, was all about feelings. You see, they want people to stay quiet when it's convenient to them, right? They don't want the truth. They want you quiet. But otherwise, they want you to sing like Aretha Franklin if it's something that is disparaging to Harry and Meghan. They want you to be Luciano Pavarotti if it's disparaging to Harry and Meghan. So, okay. Let me see here. Oh, no, that's not the one I wanted. Praises. Yeah, and you know what? Back in 2017, Sane, which is a charity, it's called Charity. Well, anyway, it's called Sane, SANE. I'm looking at a slide that I neglected to put on there. It says, Sane praises Prince Harry for speaking about his experience of grief, saying it's done more good than many, many campaigns. Right? That was a April 17th, 2017 article in The Guardian, amongst other places. So at the time, pre-Meghan, it was okay for Harry to speak about his feelings. Since Meghan, all they want him to do is to stop talking. Make that make sense. Right? Okay, so here it is. Marjorie Shiana Wallace, CBE, is the British investigative journalist, author, and broadcaster. She is also the founder and chief executive of mental health charity Sane, right? So she says here, stop playing the victim. The Duchess of Sussex is told by founder of mental health charity Sane, Marjorie Wallace, to read, let me see, to read by, okay, never mind that. But as a founder of the mental health charity Sane, Marjorie Wallace might be expected to sympathize, right? She should, with the Duchess of Sussex, who has spoken publicly about how she suffered while still a working member of the royal family. The hypocrisy is breathtaking. It really is breathtaking. I'm going to show you this. Hold on a second. I'm going to show it to you. You see, I have so much material. I save this stuff for just such a reason, because you never know when you're going to need it. This is a slide that I made some time ago, right? You never know when you're going to need it. And yet there it is. There it is. I told you it was a fossil, didn't I? That old fossil, Marjorie Wallace, the Jurassic journalist, right? The fossilized broadcaster, the embodiment of Madame Tussauds, had the capacity to tell our Duchess to stop talking. Just like I'm going to have the capacity to tell you all to hit that like button. Hit that like button. It's getting to the end of the month. It helps keep the light on. So hit that like button. It's not enough likes, you guys. Not enough likes. Yes, the UK press is wicked. Hi, Reba Henderson. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, they tried to silence Meghan, but it backfired. The Oprah interview, Netflix docuseries Spare, and all the historical records, the unroyals and their racist thugs are unable to rewrite history. Hear, hear. Okay, let me take that away. What an awful person she is. So right here, they're planning an accident in my car so Charles can marry again. Oh. You know, those are haunting, haunting words. They're planning an accident. And they put that in the Daily Mirror. This is back in the days when the tabloids used to play both sides, but we all know what side eventually they came down on. So when this campaign against Martin Bashir and Panorama, when this campaign to put that interview in a box and put it on a shelf inside of a vault was hatched, they went out of their way. And if you ask me, I'm going to allege that they made some kind of deal with Martin Bashir for him to keep quiet, because aside from his apology, you never really hear anything else about it. And I believe at the time they were trying to make like he was so sick and unable to function. And yet he seems able to drive his car. Now, he looks like a wrinkled mess, a big sloppy mess, but aside from that, I think he's probably okay. So again, it was Diana's words. It may have been Martin Bashir using whatever means necessary, but still, it was Diana's words. So let's not ever forget that. And in the end, we ended up with Camilla on the throne. In the car on the way back, I cried like I've never cried before. It was 7 years pent up anger coming out. Now, I believe that was on one of the Martin Bashir tapes. Martin Bashir has a collection of tapes that Diana was able to deliver to him because she trusted him. Nowadays, of course, Andrew Morton seems to play both sides. Mostly, he's courting the royal family, but he's playing both sides. Interesting that he took all of his success and moved out to California, which is where Omiscobi is right now. So, again, always save your receipts. If there's something that looks incredibly interesting, screenshot it, right? Diana, Princess of Wales, 1993. Lawyers acting on Diana's behalf successfully sued the Sunday Mirror and Daily Mirror for publishing pictures that were secretly taken of the princess exercising in a gym. clad in a leotard and cycling shorts. How the case was settled, Mirror Group newspaper apologized, and the case was settled for even arriving at court, was settled before, even arriving at court. The newspaper is believed to have paid Diana £1 million legal costs and donated about £200,000 to charity. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge in 2017, Closer magazine published those topless pictures taken of the Duchess of Cambridge on holiday, right? Remember that? And they received a settlement. The Queen, and I'm going to tell you what all of this is leading up to. Just stay with me. The Queen sued the Sun because they leaked her speech before she actually sat down to give it, her Christmas speech. And then the Prince of Wales in 2005 sued the Daily Mail and Sunday Mail on Sunday, for publishing an extract of his private journals in which he called Chinese leader appallingly old waxwork. That's actually pretty good, appalling old waxwork. But then again, that also describes this lady right here, doesn't it? An appalling old waxwork. See what I did there? Did you see that? Anyway, but I digress. The Prince of Wales sued them. How the case was settled, the High Court ruled in Charles' favor and dismissed that publishing such information was in the public interest as the mail. Well, anyway, the point is this. Everybody was able to sue, right? And everybody cheers them for that. Harry sues, and Harry has been called money hungry, attention seeking. He just won't let it go. But the point is, Harry is doing this because he wants to protect his family. He wants to protect the public. And of course, he's doing it because of the way they mistreated his mother. It's all of those things. He said that he has various reasons why he is pursuing these cases. He has more than one reason. Now, he didn't say that. Those are my words. That's what I believe that his pursuit of justice is for. So that's my opinion. Harry has not completely spelled out his reason for these court cases. Now, let's go here. Let me see. It's their playbook, and it hasn't changed since. And what's the playbook? Make them look as paranoid and insane and mentally ill as possible. Princess Diana enjoyed gossiping, created tension amongst royal staff members. Prince Charles cut out friends to meet Princess Diana's inexhaustible demands to save marriage, right? So Diana bad, Charles good. Meghan Markle flew into a rage at PA over, is that personal assistant, over the color of blankets, and left entire household on the verge of quitting, right? Again, Meghan bad, everybody else good. Meghan Markle leaves staff strained with demands and falls out with Kate. These are the headlines that they write to build the case. Over here, Princess Diana's dark side. Well, of course, that was in one of those movies. Prince Charles cut out friends to, okay, we did that one. The shady side of Meghan. Prince Harry's friends claim he cut off pals from since marrying Meghan Markle, and many no longer have his number. That happens. I don't know that that's true, but that happens. Those pals had to side with the institution or they had to show their loyalty to Harry. I don't suppose you could have both, but whatever the case may be, that's just a newspaper article. And you can see with the photo that they used there, where Harry has that smirk on his face. Whenever you see that photo, that means they're trying to build a case against Harry. Let me see here. Meghan Markle says she was told she couldn't get help despite having idolizations of self-harm, if you know what I mean. One of the squatties put this together. Again, essentially building a case against the person that they're trying to paint as insane. It's the same thing. Meghan Markle says she wasn't able to get help. Same thing. Meghan said on Oprah what Diana was trying to say on several occasions, that the institution wants to conceal the way that you are being treated. They want to hide the fact that you are unhappy, that you may be struggling. This is the reason why the Sussex squad, who has been watching this family for years, we actually was showing more consideration for Kate Middleton than the tabloids, the derangers, and most of the public. Now, while the public was laughing at Kate, we seriously thought she was in trouble because of the way that they treated Diana. We were the only ones that thought that Kate was in real trouble. I remember Celibici, they're not squatties, but Celibici, they closed that last show before the Troop in the Colors, and they said, I hope that they haven't done anything to her. I hope she's okay. That was sincere. I believe most people felt that way because of the way that institution mistreats. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't go to the next slide. This is what I was looking at. Because of the way that institution mistreats the women in that family, in particular, the women that marry into the family. History of using mental health as a weapon, promoting it as a stigma, colluding with Penny Jura, allegedly, and UK press to spread a lie that Diana had personality disorder. She didn't. This is abusive, selfish, and malicious. Now, that is what one of the squatties had wrote and put it on the Twitter. I cropped it so you couldn't see who wrote it because I want to protect their privacy. But again, A details how King Charles' staff made Diana's life hell. That was in page 6. Princess Diana's former chief of staff has blasted King Charles' former courtiers for spreading the original rumors that she was mentally ill. Why would they say that? You know, you really have to mean that to go up against that institution. Amanda Platel, as a betrayed wife, I was on Team Diana. So why have I finally forgiven Camilla? Because Diana is dead. She's not here to speak up for herself. And you're kissing up to the royal family. That's why. Amanda Platel, she says, why does Prince Harry always make Charles the villain and never Diana? Because Charles is the villain. Gosh, that was easy. Royal photographer stirs controversy by claiming Camilla is nicer than Princess Diana and easier to get on with. People's memories are slipping. No, they're not. You are kissing up to Camilla. Now, that was from Arthur Edwards, who had just spent the weekend with Camilla, taking photos of Camilla. And then, just out of the blue, he just blurts out that Diana wasn't so nice. This was what, last year? Why are you still talking about this? Why are they still talking about this? Diana died in 97, 2022, 2021, 2023, and they're still talking about Diana, the problem. She's gone. No doubt because of the conspiracy against her to get her out of that family, to get her away from her children. Even hiring her dressmaker of 10 years. And then the tabloid had the nerves to put that monster next to her as though they were friends. That's Photoshop. And then take a look at the right side. There's Camilla at the wedding wearing white while Diana and Charles are walking through Westminster, the St. Paul's Cathedral. Queen of Deception, Camilla Parker Bowles manipulated a young princess, Diana, vetted her before she married Prince Charles. And take a look here on the right side. Oh, this will really bake your noodle. Take a look at that ladder to oh gosh, as if I could see that. Anyway, how did she get there? Charles says he won't remarry. That was a lie. If he divorced, he won't remarry. Prince Charles to marry Camilla Parker Bowles, but she won't be queen. They said she'll just be princess consort. That was a lie. Let me see. The answer reads, as was explained at the time of their wedding in April 2005, the Duchess known as HRH, princess consort. That was what they were supposed to call her. Well, they got the queen to ask people to call her the queen consort. They weren't satisfied with that because the queen did back that. But then after the plans for the coronation, they said, we're going to drop consort. Just call her queen. That is how she climbed that ladder to become the queen, the queen. Liz Jones, I become a Camilla fan because she reminds me of Diana. Are you flipping serious? Lady, what are you smoking? What are you smoking? How does she remind you of Diana? Because she pretend to cry at the D-Day celebration ceremony. She sits there and she pretends to cry. And so that one time that she managed to, I don't know, pinch her thigh or stick herself with a straight pin to make her eyes well up with, looks like pus, you're going to say that makes her more like Diana. This is all the long game to ingratiate her into the hearts of the British people, to try to make her the mother of the country. Oh, wait a minute. You guys can't see that, can you? There it is. There it is right there. Sorry about that. I'm almost done, you guys. This one right here. We are witnessing the beginning of the end of the royal family. This video was about Kate. Kate missing. Because if you get past the fact that these videos on TikTok were not favorable to the royal family and focus on the fact that people were making the case against that family out of fear that something terrible had happened to Kate Middleton and that there had been a cover-up. It wasn't just to make fun of the royal family. I was genuinely concerned for her well-being. And there were a lot of people in the Sussex squad that were genuinely concerned. They don't want you to question anything. They want everybody to fall in line and throw their unwavering support to Charles, Godzilla, Kate, and William. That's it. They don't want any questions. They don't want scrutiny. Depressed, their delusioned look at Princess Diana. She, whatever the caption read there, she was really speaking about the fact that she thought something really bad had happened to Kate. I don't have the video to share with you, but I did do the screenshot because at the time I played the sound. I'm going to skip that one. Let me see. Harry's making the same mistakes as Diana, and I fear he'll come to regret it, just like his mother did, writes Penny Jewer. Really? Sounds like a veiled threat, right? I said it sounds like a veiled threat. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle warn, look at history over car crash royal interviews. Now, if for whatever reason there was displays of anxiety whilst in public, considering that this language is being used, could you blame the person? Could you blame the person? And as Harry said, his mother never knew the extent of what they were doing to her, but she knew something was wrong. And if that came across, if that read as paranoia, she wasn't paranoid. And that's what Harry said. She was not paranoid. She's been exonerated. William convinced Kate has the same problems as Diana. That's what the Star magazine says. Prince William is hurt after seeing Kate Middleton hounded like his mother, Princess Diana, was. It was okay to watch Meghan being hounded and still being hounded, but now it's a problem because it's happening to Kate and you don't have control over it after making whatever deal that you made with the tabloid media. And I bet you that's what the problem is. It's not that Kate is having problems, it's that he is unable to control it. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Jenny Bond, that is, pointing out the double standard in reporting of Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton wasn't on my bingo card, but she didn't lie. You can't criticize everything Meghan does and says then demand. Anyway, that's some little grammatic thing, but that's what one of the squaddies had wrote when they posted this. And so basically, Jenny Bond was saying at the time when Kate was under so much scrutiny that we have to be very careful in this constant criticism of Meghan, and yet we're asking people hands off with Kate Middleton. Now, that was what alcoholics referred to as a moment of clarity. Every alcoholic has that moment when they realize their mistakes, right? Not to say that any of those people are alcoholics, but I'm just using that as an example. So anyway, it really comes down to this. Diana was not paranoid. Diana was being plotted against. There was a conspiracy to drive Diana away from the family, to control her, to silence her. All of those things is what the tactic was. It resulted in Diana pretty much leaving the family for long periods of time just so that she could be free. And that's what they wanted. They wanted her to go. Leave the children and go as far away from here as possible. So she was stuck. Establish a home in another country and lose access to my children, which, of course, Queen Elizabeth had custodial rights to those children as they were the next in line. And Harry, of course, is doing everything he can to make his mother proud. And he will continue to do that. And I will continue to support him in that. And I know that most of you all will too. So with that, I am done. Once again, don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. Well, 1 hour, 11 minutes. I did the best I could. You guys, I had so much more stuff that I could have brought out, but I had to kind of stop somewhere. So, but in the coming days, which means tomorrow after the full interview, we'll talk about this some more for certain. So I will get out some more material in the meantime to build a case against that dreaded tabloid media and, of course, those elements within the institution that are doing everything that they can to make Harry and Meghan's life miserable. And those people know who they are. All right. Love you guys. I will see you next time. Like in later today. Yeah, next time.